Good evening, everyone. How are you today? Hopefully, you are safe and good. Today's session is about the imperative sentence, the future perfect, and the compound noun. So let's start with the first one, the imperative sentence. Do you remember this, guys? We have said this before at the beginning of this course. What are the types of sentences? Do you remember this? Yeah, good. If you remember, there are four types we said: declarative and interrogative, imperative, and exclamative sentences. Okay, very good. We have already taken the declarative sentence and we know how to do this or how to make a sentence now. The interrogative sentences, which are the questions, and the imperative sentence, this is what we are gonna discuss today. What is meant by the imperative? It's like this. We have another name by the way. We can say imperative, or we can say commands, and we can say orders as well. Okay. You can read this at the grammar book as well, as we said before, in these pages. So I want you to read these sentences and tell me what's the similarity between them. What is something similar that you can find between them? So let's read it together. Wait a minute, please. Come over here. Close the door when you go outside. Ask your teacher before you leave. Don't tell her my phone number. Don't sit on the table. Let's see the first four. What do you notice in the first four? What is something the same in these sentences? Yeah, you can say this. First, no subject. Do you remember? We said how can we make the sentence in general, declarative sentence, subject and then verb. The imperative sentence doesn't have a subject. We don't have a subject here. Okay, it's just starting with the verb immediately. So no subject. Very good. Why no subject? Could you guess? Why there is no subject in the imperative sentence? Wait a minute. Come over here. Close the door. Ask your teacher before you leave. Why there is no subject at the beginning of these sentences? Do you have any idea why? If you can think, okay, you are gonna know that I'm speaking to a person in front of me. I'm speaking to a person in front of me, which means the subject is always what? Is always you. So wait you for a minute, for example. Come you over here. Close you the door. So it's all ask. You ask your teacher before you leave. So it's always like you. I'm speaking to a person in front of me. That's why it's understood already that it's you. That's why we remove it. We don't have a subject in this case, okay? Because it's understood that the subject is always you, okay? You are speaking to a person in front of you, or you are directing a person in front of you. This is number one. So no subject in all these sentences. Very good. This is number one for the imperative. What's number two? If you noted that, we have positive and negative as usual for all. Positive starts with what? Starts with verb, wait, come, close, ask. And this verb is always in what? In the infinitive form. Very good. So I can't add any endings to this verb. I can put s, I can put ing, I can't put ed, I can put any ending. It's just infinitive in this case. Okay, if I want to make this into negative or change this into negative, so I'm gonna say what? I'm gonna just add don't in front of the verb. So I'm gonna say don't wait, don't come, don't close, don't ask. So I'm gonna add don't and then the verb plus the infinitive in this case. So again, let's revise this one more time to make sure that you got it perfectly. How can I form a sentence? We said that there are four types. We are in type number 3, imperative sentence. How can you make the imperative sentence? No subject. This is number 1. If it's positive, start with the verb infinitive. If it's negative, just add don't before the verb. Good. Let's try to do some exercise for this. But before the exercise, I'm gonna tell you why we use imperative. Why do we use orders? Why we do this? The use, okay, as usual. Number one, either to give orders or commands to a person or to someone. Jump into the pool. The coach to his students. For example, the coach and he has his students around him, so he wants to order them. So he's gonna tell them what? Jump into the pool for swimming, for example, or for swimming training. Okay, so jump, do you see, started with the verb, no subject, and the verb infinitive. So here the coach makes what? Giving orders, okay, to the students. Number two, I can use the imperative in what? Giving directions or instructions. Do you remember directions, guys? We have taken this when we were talking about neighborhood. Yeah, giving directions to a person. Go up Main Street, turn right on Elm Street, for example. Do you remember this? So go, turn, starts with what? Verb infinitive, so it's imperative sentence. Why we use it here? To give directions. I use it here in this sentence to give directions to a person. Give instructions. Instructions, it means like, for example, if you buy a new let's see, a new mobile, a new laptop, a new computer, and you don't know how to make it work, so there are instructions. It tells you first to do what, second to do what, and third to do what. Okay, so first, for example, for food, slice the potatoes, cut it into slices. For example, slice. Do you see now the verb in infinitive in this case as well? So this is number two. So we can use the imperative. Why? To give orders or to give directions or instructions. Number three, to make request. To make request, it means to ask a person to do something, especially using please or with Adam please. Sometimes, not all the times, you can use it or not. It's up to you. So read page 10, please. So the teacher said, for example, read page 10, please. Okay, or move to page 10, please. So read, starting with the verb, and this verb is in the infinitive form. Okay. Okay, for number four, giving advices or suggestions. Yes, to give an advice for a person or suggestion to a person. So for example, you say to the kids or the young, for example, young children, don't cross the street quickly or you will get hurt or you'll get hurt. So here you make what? You advise them not to cross the street quickly or they are going to get an accident, for example, or get hurt. Number five, give warnings. What does mean give warnings? To tell someone that there is some danger or something going to happen, like something wrong or something risky. It has risk. So don't touch the oven, it's too hot. So for example, if you are in the kitchen and you are using the oven and it's hot, and for example, your sister or your brother or your even kid is going to touch it. So you make what? Don't touch it. Don't touch the oven, it's too hot. So you warn him, if he touches the oven, he is going to get burned. Okay, in this case. Number six, which is the last one, invite someone. We can use the imperative as well, or the imperative form, to invite someone to a party, for example, or to something. So if you say to a person or say to another anyone that you know, come to my house at 5 p.m. for the party, or at 5 for the party. You can add please or not, it's up to you. Come to my house. So here it's what's starting with the verb infinitive. It's a type of invitation. You invite him, but at the same time in a shape of imperative sentence. Okay? Don't touch and don't cross. Don't forget, this is imperative, but negative imperative. So again, we have the imperative sentence. How can we make it? No subject, positive verb plus infinitive, a verb in the infinitive form, negative don't plus verb infinitive. Why we use the imperative? For orders, for giving an order to a person, for giving direction or instructions, for making request, for advice or suggestions, for warnings, for invitations, or inviting someone. Okay, it's very easy and very simple. How can I change the sentences into imperative? This is your homework. So for example, I give you here, read what you must or mustn't do at a school. For example, make the second person imperatives. You mustn't be cheeky. Don't be cheeky. Okay, you mustn't, it means that this is negative, imperative but negative. You must, it means this is positive. Okay, now let's move on to something else. It's also very easy and very simple. Do you remember last session I give you past perfect? Do you remember past perfect, guys? Very good. Past perfect is what, yeah, when we have two actions in the past, happened in the past, one of them happened before the other. Okay, very good. Do you remember how can we make the perfect? Had plus BP. So remember something, guys. In English, if you have perfect, there is always PP. There is always past participle. Okay? Here we are going to take the future perfect tense. What is meant by the future perfect? I want you to read these sentences and tell me what you notice as something similar between them as well. So the first one, in 3 years' time, I'll have graduated from the university. Number 2, by 5 p.m. this afternoon, will have finished his homework or his work. In 2050, they'll have retired from teaching. By next January, she'll have received her promotion. By the end of this year, John will have completed his project. So again, I want you to read them once, twice, 3 times. Okay. Do you notice something here between these sentences? As similar or as repeated? Yeah, if you notice this, this is going to be perfect. You are going to notice that the sentences have what will have plus the PP. 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 Okay? So what is it? This is the form of the verb. Will have plus the PP. Of course, you remember what's the PP, right? What's the PP? Past participle. What's the past participle? Do you remember this table? Yeah, the third column. And we have to study them by heart, guys. We have to learn them. So for example, if I said be, verb to be, yeah, was or were, this is the past. Pen, this is the past participle. Okay? Okay, let's see something else. Eat. Ate, this is the past simple. Eaten, this is what the PP, the past participle. So again, how can I make the future perfect? Will, have plus the PP. The third, yeah, the third column. Okay, very good. Why? Why should I use this tense? It's really important to know when to use these tenses, guys, because whenever you speak, you understand how can you use it and in what situation you can use this tense. Okay, now I understand that I have what will have plus the PP. It's easy. When can I use this tense? If you notice here, guys, we use it to say that an action or something will be finished by a particular time in the future. What do you mean by this? I mean by this, in 3 years' time. Now I am in the first year of the university. For example, I'm a student, I'm in the first year of the university. So how many years are remaining for me to finish the university? I am still in the first year, but how many years remaining for me to finish the university, to graduate? 3 years. So I'm gonna say what? I want to say that in 3 years time, it means like after these 3 years times, in 3 years time, I'll have graduated from the university. It means I'll already finish the university after these 3 years. So what is meant by this tense? It means an action or something that is going to be finished in the future. It will be finished in a specific time in the future. So again, we use it to say that an action or something will be finished, completed by a particular time in the future. Okay, let's understand the second one. By 5 p.m. this afternoon. It means now, for example, it's 1 or 2 or 12, it's before 5. By 5 p.m. this afternoon, will have finished his work. So at this time, it will be, this is future for me. He will finish his work. He's not going to be working. He will have finished his work. In 2050, in this year is in the future, they'll have retired from teaching. It means they will finish their time for teaching. By next January, this is future, she will have received her promotion. She knows that she is going to be promoted. She's going to have a higher position. Promotion, it means higher position. A higher position. She will have received it. She knows that this is her turn. By the end of this year, 2020, for example, John will have completed his project. This is the deadline. He will have finished this. So again, what does mean future perfect? It means you speak about something that will be finished in the future, in a specific time, in a particular time, okay? By a particular time in the future. I always tell you, sorry, there is no keywords. Do you remember this? There is no keyword for any tense. But this tense, future perfect, should have a marker of time, should have a certain word to be in the sentence. Like what? Like by, like in, like by the time, by the end of the year. So do you have a look here? In 30 years time, by, in 2050, by next January, by the end of this year. You see now, it should have, this is a rule. You can't say a sentence in the future perfect without saying the key, not the keyword, but the marker of time in this case, okay? So future perfect means what? Means you are speaking about the future, about something will be finished in the future in a specific time. How can I make a sentence like this? Will have plus the PP. That's it. How can I make the negative out of this sentence? And the question negative, of course, it's very easy. Will is negated like what? Won't, will not, won't have plus PP. Yes or no question starting with the helping, will plus the subject plus have plus the PP. WH word plus the helping plus the subject plus have PP. Let's try an example. In 3 years time, I'll have graduated from the university. So in negative, it's going to be what? In 3 years time, I won't have graduated from the university. Okay, as a question, starting with the helping, will, and then the subject to you, will you have graduated from the university in 3 years time? Yeah, I will, or no, I won't. Okay, I want to ask about all this, about the verb, will have graduated from the university. I want to ask about all this, graduated from the university. So I'm gonna say what? Sorry, it's still here only. I don't want the line here. Sorry. Okay, graduated from the university. So what's the question? Okay, it's an action, something. So it's what? And then the helping, what will, subject, you have done in 3 years time. What will you have done in 3 years time? So guys, I can ask you this question. Do you know what will you have done in 3 years time? What's something that you are gonna finish in 3 years time? What is it? Can you answer this question? Think and tell me. Okay, for homework, you are going to have a look at the rest of the sentences, and you are going to make the negative, the yes or no question, and the WH question for the underlined words as well. Okay, this is your homework in the future perfect. One more thing, fill in the blanks in the following sentences by using the appropriate future tense forms of the verbs in practice. Okay? Yeah. You are going to use the verb and you are going to make it in the right tense. Very good. Okay. Okay, so our last part in this session is related, as we said, to the compound noun. Okay, what is meant by compound noun, guys? It's like in Arabic, by the way. We have this in Arabic. It's a noun, compound noun. Of course, it's a noun made up of 2 or more words. This noun could have 2 or 3 words or more words, okay? So we can say it's a noun plus another noun, making a new noun or another noun. So to make it easy for you, so have a look at this. For example, news, you know what's news? What we hear, okay? It gives us some information about the country or other countries. And paper, you know what's a paper? If you put it together, it's a noun, news is a noun, and paper is a noun, right? So this is a noun, and this is another noun. If you put it together, it makes what? Newspaper. Newspaper is a noun or is another noun that is consisting of 2 nouns, okay? So that's it. This is what is meant by compound noun. Compound noun can be written in 3 different ways. The compound noun can have 3 different styles, 3 different ways, 3 different methods, okay? Number 1, a single word. It could be written like one word, like this, foot and ball. So it's football, right? So it consisting of foot and ball. Football is one word. There is no space. There is no space here between foot and ball, right? Okay, toothpaste. This is what is meant by toothpaste, by the way. That's it. You use it to brush your teeth. Toothpaste, it consists of what? Tooth and paste. Okay, this is a noun and this is a noun. When we put it together, toothpaste, there is no space between tooth and paste. But we can have number 2, 2 words. It could be written like 2 words. It's just one word, but written with a space. Ice cream, for example, you have ice and you have cream. There is a space between them, but it's one word, it's one noun, don't forget. Tennis shoes, it's one word, but it consists of tennis and the shoes and space between them. Or it could be hyphenated. What is meant by hyphenated? There is a small dash or a small hyphen between them. It's called hyphen in English, okay? That's why they say it's a hyphenated word. Brother-in-law, self-confidence, for example, okay? So it's one word. Here, it's one word, and it's not space. I can't write it with the space. I write it with a small hyphen, okay? So again, what's a compound noun? 2 nouns or more, because like brother-in-law, there are 3 words here. 2 nouns or made up of 2 or more words. Okay, it could be a noun plus noun. It's written in like single word or 2 words or hyphenated. Okay, let's see examples for this. These are the types of the compound nouns. Have a look. It could be, let's go back to remind you. It could be a noun plus noun, right? Very good. So it's always like noun and noun? No, it could be something else, like what? This is the example. These are the types. It could be adjective plus noun. Adjective like what? The colors. Do you remember black, white, yellow? And the noun like board, blackboard. It's one word and single word. Software, soft. This is something soft, so it's an adjective. Where, software. So it's here an adjective plus noun. It could be a verb, but the verb has ing. In this case, we say that it's a gerund plus noun. Verb ing, and we call it gerund. بنسميه gerund. Gerund because it's not a verb here. وهنا washing مش verb. It's a verb acting like a noun. عشان كده بنسميه gerund. يبقى verb ing plus a noun. Washing machine, for example. Swimming, pool. Swimming, the verb. Pool, this is noun. Okay, it could be a noun plus verb. Noun like what? Like the sun. And verb like rise, sunrise. This is a sunrise when the sun starts to be in the sky in the early morning, or sunset, the opposite. Haircut. Haircut, we have what? We have hair and we have cut. Or it could be a verb plus a preposition. Verb like check something, okay? And preposition, or we can say one of the particles. So checkup. Checkup, what does mean by checkup? Checkup, it means to go to the hospital to check your body to see if you are in a good health or if there any problem that you can, for example, deal with. Okay. Then we have noun plus prepositional phrase. Noun like mother. Prepositional phrase, it means preposition plus noun, like in and then followed by a noun. This is called the prepositional phrase. In plus noun or preposition plus noun. This is called prepositional phrase in English. زي الجار والمجرور كده في العربي. And then we have number 6, preposition plus noun. Preposition and then noun, ground. Underground اللي هو المترو or the subway. Adjective plus verb ing. Adjective, dry, and then verb ing like cleaning, and in this case we call it gerund, don't forget. Preposition plus verb, put, output, input. Okay. Noun plus noun, this is the easiest one. Football, bookshelf. Okay, this is the bookshelf, guys, where you put the books, for example, or you put decorations or any of this stuff. Dry cleaning, this is a dry cleaning part. Okay, so is it easy for you to know or to understand what's a compound noun? I think it's not so difficult. So I want you to read these sentences. Click on the compound noun. You are going to choose the compound nouns in these sentences. And the compound noun could be one word, could be two words, could be more, as we said. So I want you to read the sentences and to check where are the compound nouns in these sentences. This is your homework in this part. Okay, one more. Let's go to the book. Our book page 7 or page 8. Page 8. Caught in the rush. What does mean by caught in the rush? Caught in the rush when, for example, you have traffic, a lot of cars in the street, and you are stopped by this traffic. So you say what? I was caught in the rush. So caught in the rush, it means you are stopped because of the traffic or because of the the numbers of cars in the streets. Okay. So it talks about what? Compound nouns. Match the word in colon A and B to make compound nouns. More than one answer may be possible. So we can have more than one answer. It's okay as well. Okay. So for example, he give you here subway and the station. So we have subway station, like metro station is the dead station, for example. Okay. Do station. So it's the name of the station. We can have taxi stand. It's like the station for the taxi. Bicycle lane. Okay, so it's the lane where the bikes only can be seen. Okay, so it could be for cars, could be for bicycle, could be for trucks or any. So I want you to match the words here in A with words from B to tell me what's the compound noun, okay, or to get the compound noun, okay? For transportation, we are going to take it, but not now. No, I want you to listening. Singapore solves it. Listen to someone talk about how Singapore has tried to solve its traffic problems. Traffic is always a problem, almost everywhere, okay? So Singapore had a solution to this problem. Let's see how did Singapore try to solve this problem, okay? You are going to listen and then check if these sentences are true or false. So listen, please.
Page 9, exercise 4, listening. Singapore solves it. Part A. Listen to someone talk about how Singapore has tried to solve its traffic problems. Check true or false for each statement.
Quite a number of things have been done to help solve traffic problems in Singapore. For example, motorists must buy a special pass if they want to drive into the downtown business district. They can go into the business district only if they have the pass displayed on their windshield. Another thing Singapore has done is to make it more difficult to buy cars. People have to apply for a certificate if they want to buy a car, and the number of certificates is limited. Not everyone can get one. There is also a high tax on cars, so it costs 3 or 4 times as much to buy a car in Singapore as it does in, say, the United States or Canada. The other thing Singapore has done is to build an excellent public transportation system. Their subway system is one of the best in the world, and there is also a very good taxi and bus system.
Page 9, Exercise 4, Part B. Listen again. For the false statements, write the correct information.
Quite a number of things have been done to help solve traffic problems in Singapore. For example, motorists must buy a special pass if they want to drive into the downtown business district. They can go into the business district only if they have the pass displayed on their windshield. Another thing Singapore has done is to make it more difficult to buy cars. People have to apply for a certificate if they want to buy a car, and the number of certificates is limited. Not everyone can get one. There is also a high tax on cars, so it costs 3 or 4 times as much to buy a car in Singapore as it does in, say, the United States or Canada. The other thing Singapore has done is to build an excellent public transportation system. Their subway system is one of the best in the world, and there is also a very good taxi and bus system.
Okay, so now try to answer the questions, guys. If you'd like to repeat it, repeat the audio or the video more than 1 time so that you can get the answer correctly. Okay, it's not so difficult. You can try. Okay, no, we don't need this now. Let's go back to our presentation. Yes. For translation, I want you to try to translate this into Arabic, guys. It's just one translation into Arabic. There is no translation into English today. Translate into Arabic. It's about bound floating. I don't know if you hear this before or not, but that's it. It's the word is really like pound floating. Bound floating. This article or this is part of an article about pound floating. The Egyptian pound floating. I think it's not so difficult and it's not so easy. So you have to try to translate it as much as you can. I just to give you some words to make it easier for you. So system, we can translate it like نظام. Rate, it could be سعر أو معدل. According to طبقا دي. Customs duties الجمارك. Supply and demand. العرض والطلب. Transactions, معاملات تجارية أو إجراءات. Government, حكومة أو حكومي. Regularly, بانتظام أو بصورة منتظمة. Central Bank, البنك المركزي. و Egyptian Central Bank, البنك المركزي المصري. Exchange rate, سعر الصرف. So I just try to give you the difficult words to make it easier for you. Just to try to translate it, and we are gonna check it together as usual. For the business, of course, in business we are gonna do it online, so I'm not gonna take anything here for business. This is another homework I want you to try to do. It's like a game, matching countries and capitals. So these are countries and capitals. So for example, like Egypt and the Cairo. Cairo is the capital of Egypt. So what's the capital of Italy, for example? Do you know what's the capital of Italy? What's the capital of Russia, for example? What's the capital of it? So I want you to try to read and try to match the country and the capital together. The last thing that we are gonna take today, the homework part, it's page 7 to page 12. And it's in book 2, don't forget, or worksheet 2, okay? I think this is enough for today, and see inshallah next time online. Please study well and try to answer the homework. Don't forget. Thank you and have a nice evening, all of you. Bye.